Okay. So these holes were too small. This leveler needs to be tall. And this bump needs to get bigger. So I'll start with this bump. That should be fairly easy. No, it shouldn't, because the holes, I believe... hang on. Yeah, actually, I think the... Okay, let me see where the extrusion is. It's this sketch. Four millimeters. And then include this. Okay. And now I should have space to change that fillet feature as well. So it should now be... Oh, yeah, no. 1.5 maybe? Oh yeah, 1.25 is too much. 1 should be good. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and reverse engineer how big this should be. So I'm going to open up a unit converter, go to volume, go to cubic millimeter, and go to US teaspoon. 1 teaspoon is 4,928.9, so 4,929 cubic millimeters. Because this hole is 4 millimeters big, I'm going to need to make where is it? I'm going to need to make these bigger than that. So say 4.5, right? Which means that the minimum distance between them is going to be 4.5. So I take 4,929 with my calculator, and divide it by 4.5. So I need an area of 1,095.3 square millimeters. So I take this number, multiply it by 2 to get a circle, divide it by pi, and then I take the square root of that, and then I multiply it by 2, and I get 52.81. Oh yeah, I forgot. That's for a teaspoon. I need a quarter of that. So a quarter teaspoon would be 49.29 divided by 4, and then I divide that by 4.5, and I get this much. So now the area I need is going to be times 2 to get a full circle, divided by pi, to get the square of the radius, take the square root, and then multiply that by 2, and I get 26.4 millimeters. So I'll go here, make this 26.4 plus 1.2 plus 1.2. And there's a crap load of issues in here because there's probably projections of things. But that's fine. And I did do the calculations correct, right? Times 2 to get... It's hard to figure out how the... I'll do it again. It's 4929, right? 4929. Divided by 4 to get a 1/4 tablespoon. Divide that by 4.5. Times 2 divided by pi. Take the square root. And times 2. Yeah, 26.4. Okay. So now I can take, was it this sketch? This sketch. All right. That's just 4.5. And then okay, no, I'm just gonna delete all of these. Let me see the spacer. Yeah, so there's an issue there. Can I just move that inward? Probably. I don't know. Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay. Okay. So I'm just going to make one great big line. From here all the way across. Now I'm just going to put all the circles on that line. So this is going to be the 1/4 teaspoon. And it's going to be 4.5. And then a 1/2 teaspoon. Which is going to be 9. And then a teaspoon. And that's going to be a distance of 4.5 times 4. And then a tablespoon, which is going to be 3 teaspoons, is going to be 18 times 3, and then a 1/2 tablespoon which is going to be 54 divided by 2. And then make this equal to this. (54) divided by 4, which is 13.5. Because a quarter tablespoon is also going to be 3/4 of a teaspoon. Because there's 3 teaspoons to a tablespoon. Okay. And then warning. What are these chamfers about? I don't know. This sketch I'm just gonna delete. And then this extrude I can probably delete. And everything after that. In fact, let me just... Yeah, there we go. Delete. Okay. So for now, this is what I've got. This is what I've got. Gonna go ahead and start a sketch here. I'm gonna see how far I can stretch this. So this sketch here, I'm gonna put a line from here to here, and I'm going to dimension this line at 0.8. That's like the minimum I can go. And then I'm gonna make another, oh, hang on. Okay, then I'm gonna make another one from here going about 10. Okay. So if I measure this, it's 10.8. Okay. So I can delete about 10 millimeters off of each of these. So that plus 10, I don't need. And this, the plus 20, becomes a plus 10. Alright. That shortens it, right, to be a little bit more sensible. So now I'm going to go ahead and start a sketch here, project this circle, put a line up here and up here. And change this sketch because I just remembered that the tolerance of the plastic I'm using is crap. Just a minute. Cool. Alright, I feel like 0.3 is gonna work. I hope 0.3 is gonna work. Now I'm gonna go ahead and extrude. No, am I? Let's see. What do I need to do? Okay, I'm gonna extrude this bit by 1.2 plus 0.3 because of the tolerance there. Okay, and now I'm going to make a sketch here. I'm going to put a rectangle here, make this line collinear with this line, bring this way out to about, I don't know, like 90. Is about a handle. That looks so ridiculous. It's so long and stupid. I'm going to project this. Going to go ahead and offset it by minus 0.25. That brings it down to 4, I believe. Yep. Now I'm going to make a rectangle around this and an offset rectangle 1 millimeter away. I'm going to make this, I believe it was 50? And then that means this doesn't have to be 90. It can be as little as like 60. I'm going to change this because I remembered that I wanted to increase that thickness to 2. Okay. Now let's see. I believe the distance here was going to be 3? Yeah, 3. And then... Okay. Y. Can I change this? 6. Okay. That's fine. All right. Now I guess I'm gonna see about rounding off this end here. I don't like that, so I'm gonna try and put maybe a line, a spline here. Gonna go ahead and put lines across these. Make sure all of these are parallel. Take this and put it in this, and put it in, I believe that. Okay, now I'm gonna make them collinear, and I'm gonna make it parallel with this. So now when I move these around, they're mirrors of each other. This is a construction line, 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 and this is a construction line. Okay, and now I can go ahead and extrude all of this stuff down 2 millimeters. Then I'll get rid of the spacer, bring out the sketch again, get rid of the spoon, extrude that, bring the spoon back, start it here, and go a distance of minus 1.4, I believe it was, in the whatchamacall. So if I go, bring out this, no wait, hang on. So if I fillet this by about 1.2, yes, that is the geometry I had in the dual blade. So now I bring out the spacer, and something I didn't do in the oh, I can't chamfer this, can I? Non-manifold edge. Okay, yeah. It encountered this. That's non-manifold. So, now I have to go back in and change all of these to 4.5 plus 0.8. And then this one, 4.5 plus 8, and then multiply that by 2. Oh, hang on. What? 5.54 divided by 2. No, that's wrong. Okay, that's the wrong one. 4.5 times 4. Where did it go? Okay. 4.5 plus 4.5 plus 1.6. Because the spacing here now is going to be 4.5 plus 0.8. In fact, let me go ahead and add that real quick in my in the calculator. 4.5 plus 0.8 is 5.3. Okay. So 5.3. And then this one is, yeah, 5.3 times 2. 5.3 times 3. 5.3 times 4. And then this one was 5.3 times 4 times 3 divided by 2, because that's the half tablespoon. And then we've got 31.8, so I'm just going to do 31.8 times 2. And that is very, very close. That is very, very close to the edge. But now I will be able to chamfer these. Okay. 0.6 ought to work, I think. How do I measure? I've never used the measure tool before. Okay, so it's plus or minus 0.6. Okay. So this is, I'm baking in this chamfer into the design, but it wasn't in the dual blade. But what I did was I used a tool to chip away at the edge there and add in the chamfer, because I was getting an annoying interaction between the bump and the hole. So that's why I did that. If I make this clear, okay, I should be able to see. Yeah, okay. So that's going to be able to push up against it properly. Cool. All right. So now I've got most of what I need, except that I also have to go back into this sketch and redo this thing, because now I have 5.3. So I've got 49.29, divide that by 4. 49.29 divided by 4 gives me a 1/4 teaspoon. And then divide this by 5.3 now. Is this much area. Multiply by 2 to get a full circle. Divide that by pi. Take the square root of that. And multiply by 2 to get the diameter, and we get 24.3. So 4.3 and there we go. So now I've got stuff. Now I've got stuff. I'm hoping, so with the other, with the bigger size of this, when I printed it, and I printed it in this orientation, the spoon didn't actually finish successfully without supports. It almost did. It almost did. But it didn't. So I'm hoping that this is small enough that I can actually do this with only supports here. But I don't know. And then real quick, because I have more space in between these, because I have 5.3 and I can make a 5-point font, I might be able to put the actual lettering on here to indicate the measurements, but that'll be later. I can always just I could maybe put it here. Maybe I could get a piece of paper, I don't know. I'll figure something out. So now I need to do the leveler, and something I didn't realize is these holes probably won't add too much, because if I take the teaspoon, it's 4,928 or 4,929 cubic millimeters for a teaspoon. A quarter of that is 1,000, right? I've got the holes set at 4.5, right? So divided by 2 gives me the radius. Square that times pi, and then add, or no, not add, multiply by, I believe it was 3, 47.7 cubic millimeters. So what percentage is that? If it's negligible, so 1232.2 divided by 47.7 is, whoa, 25 times. Hang on. Divided by 1232 is 2.2% of a quarter teaspoon. So it's not that big a deal, the size of these, but I can reduce that ever so slightly by changing this to -2. Because now 47.7 divided by 3 times 2 is 31.8. Divide that by 1232, right? 1232. And it's 2.5% also, anyways. So how is that 2.25? Oh no, not 2.25. Where was the other? 0.022, 0.025. How did that happen? I've got 4.5 divided by 2 to get the radius, square that, times pi is the area, times 2. Divide 1, 2, 3, 2. Alright. 4.5 divided by 2 squared times pi times, cannot divide by 0, whatever. 4.5 divided by 2 to get the radius, square that, times pi times 3 divided by 1, 2, 3, 2. Ah, okay, yeah, so it is a good reduction. 2.5% is negligible. Or negligible to me for my purposes anyways when I'm baking. So now I'm going to make the this 1.2. I'm going to make the geometry now for the leveler. So now I can just move this in and out. Okay, cool. That also makes sense. Extrude these to here. All right. And if this works, I can modify the I just realized I forgot about, yeah, I'm still making the leveler, but I also have to change this here. In fact, I might actually think, yeah, I think I have an idea for how I want to use this. And if it works well, I can probably modify that idea in such a way as to make it doable with the measuring cup. But anyways, that's far later in the process. So the leveler, start a sketch here. Project this. Offset it by 0.3. 0.3 had better work because 0.4 is just ridiculous. Would be ridiculous. Okay. So before I had the leveler basically at this height, maybe a little higher. I want it to be, I don't know, I want to be pretty tall. Like 10. Like really tall. Kind of ridiculous, but yeah. And then let's see. extend this all the way out to here. Put a line at this midpoint. Mirror these. And extend this out to there. Okay. And can I... Okay, cool. 1.2. 1.2. Okay. I don't know. 10 might be a little bit tall. Try 5 maybe? 7? I'll do 7. Extrude. Yeah. Start at an offset. The offset will be 0.3 and the distance will be 2, maybe even 4. Not 4. 3, 2. Oh yeah. This should have actually gone all the way to here. There. So yeah, I've barely managed to scrape by with the size of this thing because it's pretty long. It's something like 60 millimeters long, which will fit inside of a can of, baking powder, but kind of barely. And I don't know if the leveler will fit inside that. Well, it should, because if I take the total distance here, I add, what, 7 to that? And it was... Yeah, so a circle of 26.7, and then the original size I had was going to be, what, 56? Yeah, that's quite, that'll fit, yeah. That should fit inside of the can of baking powder. But I guess I'll print these out and see how well they work. I kind of... Oh. I forgot what I was going to do. I need to make this more ergonomic. So, make a sketch here. And then... Can I make it an ellipse? Okay, And then extrude this part. I don't know, about 2-ish? 3 maybe? And then can I make a fillet out of that? Ooh, I can make a fillet out of that. Ooh. And because... Oh, no, okay. So I do have to be careful about that there. Should be 1.5 is the max. .5 is not the max. Okay. So hopefully that'll be enough for me to put my thumb on there. And like, actually, let me change this first one and make it smaller. Make it about that big. Because that'll give me more room to... Okay, and I gotta change this one now. Okay, 1. Yeah. So the reason I made that fillet smaller was... And it was just to give my thumb a little bit more of a lip to grab onto. Hopefully it'll be enough of a lip to grab onto. And actually not my thumb, that'll be for my forefinger. Because I intend to wrap my hand around this part, press my thumb gently against here, and hopefully I should be able to use my forefinger to pull on this in order to slide it out until it gets really far away, at which point I'll just move my hand back towards the back of this and press my thumb further back. So I should be able to do that. And it's not that big anyways. It's like 60 millimeters from here to here, I believe. So yeah, I will... chamfer this. Yeah, this is just for aesthetics. Okay, before I chamfer that, I'm going to go back into the sketch and go ahead and put a dimension on this, just so that I know where it is. 15.5. Okay, that didn't change anything too much. So now when I do this chamfer, I can make it a 2 distance, and then 15.5 on that end, and then on this end make it 1.2. Do the same thing on the other side. And that just looks better. I don't know, it just looks better to me. Can I fillet this, I wonder? Oh, I have to select I have to select both edges, and then what happens? Oh, nice. I'm gonna do that. Again, this is mostly for aesthetics. Okay. And now it looks like a paddle. It looks like a paddle. That's funny. Or an oar. That's right. I wanted to bring this out some. The reason being, when I move this as far as it'll go, it'll stop. I intend for it to stop here. More or less there. Basically at this edge here. So I need to bring this out by that much. Next, make a new sketch on this. Put a line here. Go ahead and project this so that I can make that collinear. And do the same thing on this side. And extrude these bits to here. There, so now when I move, so now if I can get this on, I should be able to move this up to about there, and then up to about there. And push off all of the remaining baking powder or baking soda or cocoa powder or sugar or salt, or, you know. So, now where's that sketch that's visible? Okay. And then rename this one to leveler. And the leveler will also be a means by which I keep the spacer from rotating, because what I can do is I can move the spacer a little bit like that, right? And then it's going to want to rotate up, and it's going to want to rotate it's going to want to rotate like that. But I can move the leveler basically all the way there. Oh, that's a smart idea. Anyways, I can move the leveler all the way there before I make my measurement. Make my measurement, and then move the leveler back and forth. to level it off, and then I have my measurement. So I think this is ready for me to test out and see if it works. Close that. Okay. So now save this in miscellaneous. And I'll measuring cup and spoon, measuring spoon. Save, yes, replace it. Yes. Spacer. Yes. And leveler. Yes, replace it. So now I can test these out and see how well they work. Hopefully they'll work better. It's essentially the same thing as before, but more refined, because the idea was fine before, it just wasn't very well refined. So hopefully this will work just well enough, and if this does work well enough, I can probably just write with a marker the measurements. Right, I can like bring this back one notch and right on top of there use a pen or a marker, a fine Sharpie. Do I have a fine Sharpie? I can get a fine Sharpie. And right on there, you know, quarter teaspoon and all that. Just by hand. So yeah, I'll go ahead and test these out. Hopefully I can print this in the orientation I intend for it to be printed, because if I can't, then I'm going to have to redesign then I might have to redesign the whole thing. And that would be annoying. Well, time to test if this works.